Under a bright blue sky, a building stands tall. She savors her ice cream on the couch while he types on his laptop, sunlight warming the cozy room. He blushes, watching her lick an ice cream cone, both caught in a playful moment. She closes her eyes, blushing as she enjoys her ice cream, the taste lingering. His eyes dart sideways, a tear glistening as his cheeks flush with emotion. She teases him with a coy smile while he blushes and looks away. He stammers nervously, sweating as he denies her teasing accusation, staring at the floor. She leans in with a flirty grin, making him cover his flushed face in embarrassment. He bolts away, red-faced and sweating, as she calls after him to clean up his mess. She gazes forward with sparkling eyes, her suggestive smile hinting he is excited. She smiles at him as he turns away, sweating and blushing on the couch. He goes to the washroom and looks distressed, feeling pinned down, his face flushed as he questions his choices. A few days earlier, his story begins. She laughs, amused he doesn't see her as a woman. He gazes downward somberly, the weight of his new reality settling in. He and another man hold hands across a table, sharing comfort in a brightly lit room. They clasp hands tightly, the warm light reflecting their quiet connection. He stares at his father's framed photo, memories of abandonment swirling in his mind. Memories begin to flow as he stands solemnly in a suit. They discuss his new role as landlord, the room warm with framed pictures on the walls. He reviews a document, stunned to learn he now owns the entire building. At dusk, the man shows him the building his father gave him. The older man smiles, assuring him the tenants are informed about the new landlord. They stand together at dusk, one thanking the other for their support. He shields his eyes from the sun, the warm sky glowing with possibility. He hesitates at the door, suitcase in hand, recalling the code to unlock it. His finger taps the keypad. She asked if he spoke, but he suggested another round, dodging her. He admires the spacious kitchen, sunlight streaming in, eager to settle in. He shuts the door, his expression softening as he takes in his new surroundings. A message from a friend pops up, asking where he is, with a dog's snarling profile picture. He checks his phone in the doorway, the suitcase waiting as he replies. He texts that he is coming. He grabs his suitcase, ready to unpack and start his new chapter. Suddenly, his phone buzzed loudly, startling them both in the tense car. Anticipation. The elevator dings, its display flashing as the doors prepare to open. Outside, a girl waits with her suitcase as the elevator doors slide open. She stands in the doorway, surprised, clutching her suitcase as she faces him. He blushes, looking at his phone, startled to see her standing before him. He gapes at her, wondering if the pretty girl is his new neighbor. He shakes his head, brushing off his flustered thoughts with a sigh. The vibrant street glows at dusk, signs for cafes and pubs lighting up the night. At the bar, his friend pours a drink, sheepishly downplaying his new landlord status. His friend teases him loudly, raising a glass in the dimly lit bar. In the past, she asked if his film was out. His friend jokes about renting to struggling girls, making him blush. The man with glasses laughs, imagining a tenant who can't pay rent. She frowns at the door, wondering why he isn't responding. He eats casually while the other frets over tenant troubles, frustrated. His friend grins, suggesting a bold tenant might approach him first. His heart races as he imagines a tenant calling him landlord with a flirty heart. In his mind, she looks distressed, offering help but hinting at rent complications. His friend gags, horrified at the thought of him as a landlord. After a while, outside the coffee shop, he looks down while his friend holds a cigarette packet. The neon-lit street buzzes as his friend mentions a reunion tomorrow. They stand silently, the weight of the reunion hanging between them. He refuses to go, his friend watching him with concern. He admits how school made him feel invisible, his voice heavy. His friend urges him to attend, hinting at single women and his landlord status. His friend reveals his first love, Minhiju, will be at the reunion, shocking him. His heart pounds as he pictures her, his first love, at the reunion. His friend insists he attend. He panics, hoping it isn't true. She explained a notary's advice to watch the heir to protect her share. He grumbled, annoyed that the will wasn't notarized, complicating everything. He notices a light already on, puzzled as he stands indoors. He announces he is home, staring at unfamiliar shoes on the floor. He freezes, spotting women's sneakers, his mind racing with questions. He stands shocked in the doorway, seeing the girl unpacking a suitcase. She looks up, startled, as she packs her suitcase in the warm room. His face flushes with sudden realization, his heart thumping loudly. He remembers what his friend said in the coffee shop. He sweats profusely, flustered and stammering as his heart pounds. He apologizes loudly and leaves. He huffs heavily, sweat dripping as the moment overwhelms him. He leans against the door, heart thumping, questioning who she is. Then he remembers her from the morning in the elevator. He blushes intensely, realizing the new tenant is in his home, confused. She leans from the doorway, curiously asking if he is Choi. He stands confused, his face flushed, unsure of what is happening. Later, she sits on the sofa, absorbed in her phone, while he looks away, stunned. He looks troubled, learning she is the daughter of his father's mistress. She explains co-inheritance calmly, holding her phone with confidence. His distress is clear as she speaks softly. He remembers his father. She stares at her phone, repeating the shocking truth about their shared inheritance. He reels, grappling with the idea of sharing his father's legacy with her, scratching his head as frustration mounts. He questions whether her story is true. She sits calmly on the couch while he sighs, running a hand through his hair. She holds up her phone, flashing a photo of 3 smiling faces as proof. The photo shows her with his father, confirming her claims with shock. He stares at the phone, sweating and stunned to see his father's image, panicking as he doubts the photo's authenticity. He questions the photo's truth, sweating as he holds the phone tightly. She mentions a notarized will, sitting confidently as he listens, stunned. Then she proposes splitting the inheritance, her words firm and legal. He nods reluctantly, agreeing as she speaks from the couch. She stresses their lack of blood ties, explaining the law as he listens. He scratches his head, baffled by the strange legal twist of fate. He thinks the girl is shameless. He sighs, asking her to leave for now, his patience wearing thin. She asks why she should leave. She insists the house is shared, her words shocking him as she sits firmly. She claims a room, rising boldly as he protests in shock. She drags her suitcase, ignoring his objections as he sits stunned. He peeks nervously, his cheeks flushed, heart racing with uncertainty. Later at night, he lies in bed, lost in thought. He lies in bed, staring at his phone, lost in thought under the dark covers. A glossary explains notarized wills, detailing their legal weight. A forum post questions inheritance for a mistress's child, sparking his worry. A lawyer's post confirms the will's validity, deepening his distress. He lies in bed, reeling from the reality of the inheritance news. He hugs his pillow, urging himself to sleep before the reunion. Later in the morning, he lies awake, sunlight streaming in. A door swings open with a beep, light spilling into the quiet kitchen. He peeks nervously from the doorway, blushing at what he sees. She laughs loudly, her cheeks flushed. She sits lost in thought while he sweats, watching her from the side. The door shuts firmly. He sits frustrated, unsure of the building's layout and her bold presence. A message startles him, his heart racing as he sits by the closed door. His friend asks if he is coming to the reunion. He promises to rethink the reunion, his gaze heavy with doubt. The lively street glows with neon signs, the cafe buzzing with life. At the reunion, friends clink glasses, their chatter filling the lively bar with warmth. They toast joyfully, the table filled with drinks and shared laughter. The group drinks and eats, their chatter echoing in the cozy restaurant. He reminisces fondly, sipping his drink, praising the girl's timeless beauty. A friend grins, adjusting his glasses, complimenting their unchanged looks. They tease him for his old habits, laughing over drinks at the table. He laughs off an insult, joking that one hasn't stayed pretty. He roars with laughter, beer in hand, ignoring the angry reaction. She snaps at him, calling his words outdated as others look on. He raises his mug, urging everyone to enjoy the reunion's warmth. He calls for a toast, wishing for more friends at the next gathering. Someone taps a phone under the table, texting in the lively bar. The table buzzes with chatter, though he sits quietly, withdrawn. He smiles at his phone, enjoying the reunion's familiar faces. He points eagerly, urging a friend to check his phone. He texts to ask if his first love, Hee-ju, is coming. He looks down, worried, as the news sinks in silently. A message reveals she is at her in-laws, disappointing the group. He reads the message, his face falling as he learns she isn't coming. He stares at his phone, stunned to hear about her in-laws. He processes the news of her marriage, his heart sinking as he reads. He taps his phone frantically, shocked by the marriage news. He grips her thigh, suggesting she leave if she doubts his intentions. A message confirms her marriage to his rival, leaving him stunned. Tears well as he processes her marriage to that man, his heart breaking. The group video calls her, asking if she is really with her in-laws. She waves on the call, laughing off their teasing about her marriage. He blushes, watching her unchanged beauty on the phone screen. They ask about her husband, joking about an affair as she explains. Someone scolds him for crude talk, frustration rising at the table. Meanwhile, outside a glowing building, the stairs light up as voices echo, someone urging quiet on the phone. It is Hee-ju's husband with another girl talking on the phone. They wish he would have joined, missing him at the reunion. She smirks, her pink-tinged hair glowing under dim lights, teasing him about his lies. He blushes, insisting his feelings are true for Hee-ju. Her purple eyes sparkle as they continue their secret workout session. Meanwhile, after the reunion, he lights a cigarette, grimacing at the awful situation. He coughs harshly as his friend scolds him for wasting a cigarette he can't handle. He smokes, muttering that nothing has changed. He apologizes, regretting that he dragged him out, cigarette smoke curling around him. He slumps, devastated, unable to believe she is with that man. Tears streak his face as he curses her choice, his heart breaking. They smoke, one shrugging that girls still love him, urging him to move on. He comforts his friend, arms around him, promising better days. After a while, he grins, announcing Choi's arrival, mentioning that Hee-ju is looking for him. He laughs, saying she hasn't changed, joking she could pass for single. A voice notes they look like celebrities from afar, dazzling the crowd. She smiles at the compliment, her beauty shining brighter each day. He questions if they only bought cigarettes, eyeing them suspiciously at the bar. He blushes, startled by the accusation. She scolds him for nonsense while another asks when they'll leave the bar. He sips his beer as Choi approaches him. He smiles, recognizing an old friend, greeting him warmly at the bar. He grins slyly, asking how his old friend has been doing. He glares at him. She holds her beer, clarifying his identity to the confused group. He flushes, gripping his drink, upset by their mocking tone. They tease him for being forgotten, apologizing as he blushes in embarrassment. They reassure him, urging the group to stop embarrassing him. A girl grins, admitting she remembers Park Da-hum correctly, sparking curiosity. She calls Park her friend, insisting she'd never forget his name. His eyes tear up, embarrassed by the attention at the noisy table. That guy teases if he had a secret relationship with Yuna, making him spit out his drink in shock. They laugh at his reaction, teasing if he likes her, urging silence. He slumps, devastated by Hee-ju's marriage, wanting to flee the reunion. He gapes in shock, noticing Yuna under the table. The table erupts in chaos as he reaches down, stunned by the moment. They laugh at the table, unaware of his distress as the chaos continues. He stammers in disbelief, shocked by the scene unfolding before him. He grips the bar, flustered, denying he might be mistaken. His eyes widen in shock, sweating as he realizes Yuna forgot something to wear. He starts thinking about what could be the reason. Choi offers help, startling him as he blushes between her legs. He recoils in pain, shocked as her arm swings, food flying across the table. He stammers excitedly that he got it. She sips her drink as someone checks on Da-hum to see if he is okay. Da-hum assures them nothing is wrong. Yuna grins with chopsticks in hand, brushing off concern with a cheerful smile. He drinks deeply, his face flushed. That sunglass-wearing friend grins, teasing about his red face. They tease that his obvious crush is Yuna, his face burning as he denies it weakly. She sips her beer, curiously asking what Da-hum has been up to lately. He stammers, caught off guard by her question, clutching his mug tightly. He sweats, unsure whether to admit he is now a landlord. She grimaces at her food, comparing their humble lives with gratitude. She brags about Gobong's car showroom job, offering deals with a grin. Gobong gestures wildly, saying he is trying to make a living as Yuna's phone starts to ring. Her phone slips from her clutch, tumbling toward the floor. The phone scatters across the tiles, clattering loudly as it falls. She glances back, purse in hand, noticing the phone on the floor. She touches her forehead, dizzy, as someone asks if her phone is okay. He freezes, heart pounding, worried her skirt might reveal too much. He panics, realizing others might notice her lack of clothing. They start looking at her. He gasps, tongue out, overwhelmed by the shocking sight before him. Da-hum yells and flips the table as liquid splashes, food flying in the chaos. She clutches her phone, startled, exclaiming at the sudden commotion. He smiles nervously, sweating as he faces his friend, words faltering. He blurts out that he owns a building, his face flushed with shock. The table erupts in surprise, staring as he reveals his new status. The playground sits quiet under the night sky, city lights glowing warmly. Later, he hunches on the bench, upset, as his friend teases about flipping the table. His friend laughs, amused that he admitted his wealth so boldly. He hides his face, unsure why he caused such a scene, overwhelmed. His friend pats his back, praising the chaos and the crowd's reaction. At the reunion, everyone gaped, stunned that he owns such an expensive building. His friend smokes, noting how others' attitudes shifted with his wealth. He mumbles, blushing, still reeling from the underwear revelation, the crowd's reaction. The towering apartment building glows against the starry night sky. Yuna is on a call with Choi, inviting her over since Hee-ju is away. He wants to see Yuna after drinking. Yuna says she does workouts only when she wants to. Choi stays silent. He smirks, amazed at Daham's sudden rise to landlord. She asks if he is jealous. She frowns, noting his jerkish behavior after flipping the table. She looks down sadly, realizing Daham saw something he shouldn't have. He slumps on the park bench, hiding his face while his friend smokes. Suddenly, a girl texts her joy at their meeting, hoping to see Daham again soon. Someone invites him to join their lively group chat. Gobong texts a cheeky request to visit his home. His friend smirks, arms around him, teasing about his newfound popularity. Smoking, he boasts that owning the building made everyone notice him. But Daham snaps, insisting he doesn't need their attention, his voice firm. He sighs, overwhelmed as old classmates suddenly flood his phone with messages. His friend exhales smoke, suggesting Hee-ju would see him differently if she had come. He flinches, defending her honor, startled by the accusation about her character. He looks down, flushed, grappling with the reality of her being married. His friend's cigarette sizzles as he demands another drink at his place. His eyes gleamed with hesitation, softly asking if they should go. Then he remembers the girl at his home. He waves off his friend, flustered, citing a guest at his place tonight. His friend raises an eyebrow, surprised to hear about a guest. Meanwhile, at a building, lights glow softly. He stands in the doorway, grumbling about his workout urges after drinking too much. Hee-ju smiles at him, greeting him warmly as he steps into the bedroom. He stands stunned, asking when she arrived, expecting her tomorrow. She applies makeup, explaining her early return as a newlywed, asking about the reunion. She smiles, touching her cheek, happy to hear the reunion went well. He leans over her on the bed, the warm lamp casting a soft glow. He suggests they skip washing up tonight. She pushes back playfully, insisting he wash up, her expression hesitant. She pleads softly, not ready yet, asking him to slow down before they start their workout. She reaches out, worried about their lease, her mother's concerns echoing. He snaps, annoyed, as she ruins the mood with talk of practicalities. He spreads his arms, promising to handle the high rent with loans. She smiles shyly, planning to check with more real estate agents. He apologizes, regretting that his failed business made her suffer. She smiles warmly, feeling his love as his hand caresses her face. She leans forward, eager to hear about the reunion, noting Yuna's dead phone. She leans close, shocked to hear about the table-flipping incident at the reunion. Her eyes widen, surprised to learn he attended the reunion. He smiles, amazed to share that Daham has become a landlord. He leans back, frustrated for not thinking of it sooner, lost in thought. Their eyes lock, his intense gaze suggesting a place they could escape to. They sit quietly on a bench under a glowing street lamp. He gapes, sweating, stunned to hear about a co-inheritor, his friend's voice sharp. He clutches his forehead, stress mounting as the shocking news sinks in. His friend presses on, revealing the mistress's daughter claims half the estate. He slumps, denying any relation to her, insisting she is a stranger. He sits in silence, glasses glinting, lost in troubled thoughts. His friend urges him to confront her at home, but he hesitates, flustered. His friend shouts, warning she might be a gold digger, anger flaring. He freezes, eyes wide, reeling at the thought of her being a gold digger. Meanwhile, Choi suggests Hee-ju get close with Daham. She sighs, tears falling, admitting she hasn't spoken to him in years. After some arguing, she nods, agreeing to reach out to him, their faces close and flushed. Daham and his friend enter the building. He shakes his head firmly, rejecting the idea in the dim parking garage. His friend gasps, amazed he lives in such a pricey neighborhood. He frowns, warning his friend that confronting her is a bad idea. His friend scoffs, questioning why she'd enter a stranger's home so boldly. In the hallway, his friend accuses her of scheming, seeing him as an easy mark. His friend points angrily, labeling her a gold digger. Suddenly, she appears, They stand frozen on the street, stunned to see her. His face flushes with shock, unable to believe who stands before them. He stammers, questioning if it is really her, his face red with surprise. She frowns, confused, as they backtrack, denying the gold digger claim. He sweats, nervously calling her a golden flower to cover his mistake. She invites him inside to talk, his voice shaky as he agrees. He promises to call tomorrow, walking away as he clenches his fist in frustration. He stares, blushing, struck by her stunning beauty. Inside the room, she rummages in the fridge as he sits nervously, piecing it all together. He sweats, anxious, wondering why she lingers on the gold digger comment. She sips her drink, dressed casually, swallowing her nerves. His eyes widened, worried whether she is really a gold digger. She calls out to him. She leans back, suggesting safety rules for living together, her tone firm. He blinks, surprised, as she mentions safety rules over drinks. She teases, warning that living together could spark trouble, her smile playful. She lists dangers like spying or worse, making him squirm uncomfortably. He protests, stung by her words, insisting he isn't a criminal. She smirks, sipping her drink, noting men always start as gentlemen. He tears up, determined not to seem weak, her sarcasm stinging. He snaps, denying any attraction, urging her not to be delusional. She grins, holding her beer, teasing that everyone claims innocence at first. She warns that men eventually lose control, her tone cool and knowing. He winces, hurt by her harsh insult, then calls her ugly. He says he will never be excited to see her. He grips her thigh, suggesting she leave if she doubts his intentions. A cherub pats his head, praising his resolve as he looks away, nervous. Suddenly, she stands up. He leans back, heart racing, as she leans toward him with purpose. She grins confidently, proposing a daring bet. His eyes widened, shocked by her bold challenge, sweat beading on his face. In the kitchen, she teases him about living together, doubting his claim of indifference. She grins slyly, proposing a bold bet as he sweats nervously. He gapes, flustered, asking what kind of bet she means. Her finger presses his neck, his strained smile betraying his unease. She grabs his neck, warning he'll leave if he ever feels excited by her. She points at his chest, threatening eviction if he breaks their deal, asking what kind of bet she means. Her finger presses his neck, his strained smile, but he agrees to the bet but warns she'll leave if nothing happens in a month. She seals the deal with a confident smile in the cozy kitchen. The building glows at dusk as she presses him to confirm their agreement. Her pencil scribbles slowly, drafting their unusual agreement on paper. They sign the memorandum, binding their bet over the inheritance split. He storms off, her trailing behind, the air tense with their new pact. She clutches the paper, teary, upset over the unexpected bet they made. She remembers that he called her ugly. She crumpled the paper on the bed, her expression set with determination. He mutters at his desk, denying her looks could sway him, gripping the document. He stares down silently, blushing, the weight of their bet sinking in. Later, he peeks nervously from the door, his face flushed with anxious thoughts. She lounges on the couch, reading, unaware of his watchful gaze. He panics, urging his wandering thoughts away as she stretches nearby. Then he goes outside. Snacks pile up as the cashier demands payment, breaking his tense focus. He stands frozen, lost in thought. At home, she peels a banana seductively. He admits to avoiding her for days, hoping to dodge temptation. He bites into his burger, fuming that the situation feels unfair. He eats alone, grumbling about hiding in his own house like a fugitive. He chews nervously, insisting he can avoid her without losing control. It is a sunny morning. She licks her ice cream as he works quietly, the room calm but tense. He glances over, pensive as she savors her ice cream, unaware of his stare. She licks her ice cream slowly. His eyes widen, sweat beading as he watches her lick the ice cream. She teases him about his reaction, smirking as he chokes in embarrassment. He hunches over his laptop, denying any excitement, sweat dripping heavily. She leans closer, urging him to look, as he hides his face in shame. He flees, red-faced, as she scolds him to clean up his mess. She smiles slyly, asking if he knows when he is excited, testing him. He clenches his fist, insisting it won't happen, her calm gaze unnerving. He twitches in the bathroom, questioning if the bet was a mistake. He panics, realizing the situation is already dangerously tempting. He confesses the bet to his friend, explaining the risky deal. His friend scolds him for agreeing to such a foolish bet. He texts back, defending his choice as the best option despite the risk. He frets over her beauty and actions, tapping his phone nervously. He stares at his phone, debating whether to back out of the bet. His friend texts suggesting the bet might have been a smart move. His friend urges him to prove he can resist her, leaving him stunned. He sits at his desk, sweating as his friend pushes him to follow through. His friend texts asking if he has workout videos to test his resolve. His hand hovers over the mouse, ready to click into a risky folder. He clicks the folder, his heart racing with anticipation. His friend instructs him to exhaust himself with videos to win the bet. He hesitates, sweating, unsure if following his friend's advice is safe. In his head, she turns as he stands in the doorway, tension crackling between them. She gasps, demanding he leave, her panicked eyes wide with fear. He smirks in the doorway, taunting her that he doesn't want to work out after seeing her. She clutches the bathtub's edge, horrified by his disgraceful display. His face flushes, sweat beading as he reels from a daring thought. He sits at his desk, phone in hand, briefly convinced it is a good idea. He stares at his screen, frustrated, arguing she crossed the line first. His friend challenges him to act or risk losing the house to her. He gapes at his phone, shocked by the suggestion to resolve it quickly. He questions how he could possibly pull it off, stunned. In his mind, she frowns on the couch, asking him to cover up as he scratches himself. He grins, insisting he doesn't want to work out, trying to prove her wrong. She looks troubled, silently processing his bold display. He asks if he is winning the bet, but she says it hasn't been a month yet. She recoils on the couch, shocked as he stands exposed before her. Her eyes tear up as he brazenly suggests something scandalous. He smirks, pushing her to test his resolve, tying it to their bet. He leans back, suggesting she try something bolder to test him further. She flushes, embarrassed, as he teases her about taking the challenge. He sits distressed, shaking his head, doubting the path he is on. His friend texts a stern reminder. One mistake, and he'll lose the house. He clutches his head, cursing the bet as his screen glows brightly. She laughs on the bed, munching snacks, amused by his predicament. Her phone buzzes, warning her internet data plan is gone at a critical moment. She sits up on the bed, annoyed that her phone has been using mobile data. She stares at her phone, realizing she burned through her data unknowingly. Her eyes widen, grasping she's been using mobile data all along. She stands in front of Daham's room. Her hand knocks softly on the door, breaking the quiet tension. She calls out, startled, as her knocks echo unanswered. He sits at his glowing desk, suitcase nearby, ignoring the commotion. She frowns at the door, wondering why he isn't responding. He clutches his stomach, panicking, unsure if he locked the door. His fingers frantically hit Windows plus L, locking the screen in a rush. She peeks nervously around the doorway, her voice trembling. She stands confused, arms crossed, wondering if he left the house. She crawls toward the router, hunting for the Wi-Fi password. He catches her crawling, demanding to know what she is doing. He stammers, claiming he was meditating, hiding his embarrassment. She finds the Wi-Fi password, both mortified by the awkward moment. She urges him to continue meditating, unaware he is hiding his screen. Suddenly, she gasps, clutching her shoulder. He kneels, flustered, setting rules to keep their private lives separate. He grips his pocket tightly, trying to act natural despite his nerves. He urges her to leave, red-faced, as she sits shyly on the floor. He slumps, insisting he didn't mean to see anything, urging calm. She teases, noticing his reaction, her eyes glinting with mischief. He turns away, heart pounding, as she asks him to face her. He turns away, heart pounding, denying her claim with a shocked gasp. She stares, teary-eyed, accusing him of noticing her watermelon. She hugs herself tightly, shivering, as he stands frozen, urging control. She grins widely as she looks down. He gasps, sweating, fearing their bed is spiraling to an end. He watches her crawl, wondering if she misunderstood male anatomy. He shouts, denying any reaction. He fumbles, insisting it was just a normal male trait. She sits thoughtfully, convinced by his explanation, her cheeks flushed. Then he explains that it's not what she thinks, despite their bet. After that, he suggests another method for her to judge. She touches him, causing him to bolt upright. Then she blushes, thinking about the new method of judgment. He snaps, heart racing, insisting she stop imagining his excitement. She kneels down to check. He gapes, shocked by her bold request, heart pounding wildly. She reaches out, insisting it is the only way to confirm. His eyes widened, sweating, doubting she'd actually touch him. She gasps, feeling it after a slight touch, her face flushed with shock. He bolts away, claiming a phone call to escape the tension. Then he sighs in relief, shooing her away after the close call. He answers the phone, flustered, confirming his identity to the caller. Yuna speaks softly, revealing herself as the caller, surprising him. His eyes widened, stunned, asking how she got his number. She kneels, angry he might destroy evidence, blushing fiercely. Yuna asks if he is free tomorrow, catching him off guard. She questions his shock as he snaps, startled by her sudden move. She leans forward, confused, as he stammers an apology, flustered. Yuna proposes meeting tomorrow, leaving him stunned and disbelieving. She agrees to meet, texting the place as he groans in distress. She presses closer, urging him to stay still to confirm, causing him pain. Yuna pauses, troubled, staring at her phone with a worried look. She finds that Daham does not want to work out. She tries with both hands, heart racing, certain of her judgment. He hesitates, wanting to stop. She blushes at Daham. He sits on the bed, flustered, shouting that her touch caused his reaction. She leans close, accusing him of reacting to her earlier exposure. His heart races, panicking over what to say as he sits in distress. She smirks, her hand on his leg, saying his reaction speaks for itself. Then she leans in with a suggestive grin, noting it won't take long. She reminds him of their bet, standing confidently by the glowing monitor. Daham stammers, wide-eyed, begging her to hold off on their deal. She stands proudly, giving him one day to prove himself or leave. Her hand rests on the mouse, ordering him to pack and move out. She faces the monitors as a video starts while he cowers, stammering excuses in panic. The child looked up worriedly, asking if he'd come back home, himself or leave. He questioned softly if it was. Her eyes tear up, branding him a pervert in a heated moment. After that, she slams the door, the impact echoing his frustration and shame. She glanced nervously as he raised the camera to snap a quick picture. He'd come back home, himself. He lies on the bed, covering his eyes, mortified that she thinks him ridiculous. He hides his face, torn between relief and fear of escalating danger. He jolts, suddenly remembering his upcoming meeting with Yuna. He reads her text, puzzled by her request to meet at the cafe. He sits on the bed, wondering why she wants to see him. Daham slumps, ashamed for thinking like a pervert about her actions. He sweats, certain she can't know what he saw. Suddenly, he remembers his friend praising his status as building owner. He tilts his head, puzzled, holding his phone and sweating nervously. He wonders if Yuna has feelings for him, his eyes wide with hope. Later, they sit together. She sips her drink, noticing Daham's distracted, troubled expression. He looks startled as she calmly notes everyone's curiosity at the cafe. She smirks playfully, teasing that she was worried about his intentions. She sips her drink, asking what others said after the reunion. He admits they wanted frequent meetups, likely due to his new status. She leans forward, questioning if he thinks her interest is also superficial. He blushes, denying the thought that she is after his building status. He admits, flustered, that he briefly suspected her motives. She tilts her head, probing his thoughts with a curious gaze. He freezes, cup to his mouth as the cafe's atmosphere grows tense. She smiles faintly, assuming he dislikes the vibe, which he quickly denies. Daham hopes she isn't like the others. She brushes off his hesitation with a clever, teasing remark. He clutches his cup, panicking as she says she overheard a girl with him on the phone yesterday. He denies having a girlfriend, claiming he was just watching something. She smiles warmly, dismissing his shock as natural for adults. She reaches for her drink, unfazed as he admires her bold words. He stares down, unable to shake off her piercing words. As he bends down to pick up his spoon, she declares that she is dressed today, unlike before. He gapes, heart racing, as she teases him at the cafe table. She grows curious about him after the reunion. She confirms he is single, already knowing the answer. She pauses, hinting at another question with a subtle glance. She leans in, boldly asking if he wants to work out with her. He stammers, shocked, as she suggests something unthinkable. She rests her cheek on her hand, leaving him to question her suggestive words. He stifles a laugh, his flushed face betraying his embarrassment. She teases playfully at the table, startling him as he fears being overheard. Yuna tilts her head, flirting with a smile, charmed by his cute expression. He gapes, shocked, wondering if she is hinting at something more. She asks if her lack of clothing at the reunion caught his eye, and he hesitantly agrees. He raises his hands, blushing, insisting he wasn't looking for pleasure. She smiles gently, asking how he'll take responsibility for seeing that. He freezes, heart racing, wondering if she is toying with him again. Meanwhile, Choi texts her, asking about her meeting with Daham, curious for details. She smiles at her tablet, promising to reply later and refocusing on him. He sips his mug as she asks about vacant apartments in his building. She explains an alumna's housing struggle, clarifying her meeting's purpose. He sweats, noting the high cost of deposits, his concern growing. He realizes her meeting was about housing, not personal interest. He curses himself, feeling foolish for misreading her intentions. She teases about his lack of curiosity regarding the alumna's identity. Daham admits having few friends, saying everyone knew about it. He grins, declaring he isn't the pushover from high school anymore. She smirks, intrigued by his confidence. She sighs, regretting bringing that person along for no reason. Suddenly, people start staring at someone. He looks puzzled. Daham is stunned to see Hee-ju, his first love. He blushes, realizing the alumna Uniment was Hee-ju all along. She looks concerned in the cafe, sensing tension in the air. He blushes, surprised she heard about his marriage, asking when it happened. She smiles, revealing they've been married for a year. She explains delays in registering their marriage due to her husband's business. Hee-ju asks Daham if he still takes photos, her expression soft and curious. He admits he stopped photography, finding it boring now. She looks concerned, praising the warmth of his past photos. In the past, she asked if his film was out. She smiles, admiring the warmth of his photos, as he thanks her. She groaned, noticing she was the only one with closed eyes in the photo. She gapes at the photo, upset, as he laughs about her sudden eye closure. She frowns at the film photo, unable to check it instantly. Back in the present, she expresses curiosity about his life post-reunion and he downplays it. Daham asks if her husband treats her well. She smiles, confirming her husband is good and handles chores. Hee-ju grins, mentioning she heard about his building ownership. Suddenly, he stands to leave the cafe, apologizing as Yuna questions his early exit. She looks surprised, blushing as her name is called out. He offers his vacant apartment to her, smiling warmly. She tears up, shocked he knew about her housing situation. He offers to send real estate info, clarifying her true intentions. He smiles, bidding farewell to the group, ready to leave the cafe. Yuna notices the situation carefully and is suspicious of them. A bus rolls by as the bustling street hums in the afternoon light. Daham sips a drink. He slumps outside the store, groaning, clutching tightly. He agrees to let it go, urging himself to forget the encounter. He smiles faintly, accepting that Hee-ju is married and out of reach. He remembers offering his vacant apartment again, his smile warm and sincere. He groans, regretting his impulsive offer to her. Staring at his bank balance, he's stunned by the massive sum, lost in thought as he reflects on how life used to be. Change has come, and though he struggles to adjust, he resolves to move forward, accepting the new reality. With firm resolve, he declares a new chapter begins, one where he'll love fiercely, hold on tightly, and never let anyone take her away again. He promises to protect her. He glances at his phone, the massive bank balance still shocking. Suddenly, Yuna from behind reminds him of another meeting, breaking his reverie. He leans in, stunned to see her. She invites him for a drink, her smile bold and inviting. He embraces the moment, ready for a fresh chapter. They walk down a vibrant street, neon signs lighting up the night sky. After drinking, Daham was carrying Yuna on his back. He glanced down, embarrassed, noting everyone's lively Friday night energy. He froze, sweat beading, urging himself to focus amid the chaos. He carried her on his back, both distressed, through the neon-lit street. He worried what might have happened if she'd gotten drunk alone. A while ago, he was sipping a drink. She teased him about his drinking stamina as he struggled to keep up. He admitted he just wanted to drink and forget the night's chaos. She asked if his mood was off because of Hee-ju, catching him off guard. She leaned in, noting his shift in attitude when Hee-ju appeared. She accused him of lying about leaving, her tone sharp and probing. Daham said she was right. He confessed his past feelings for her, his voice heavy with regret. He dismissed it as history, accepting they couldn't change the past. He admitted old feelings had clouded his judgment tonight. After that, Daham sighed, seeing Hee-ju now as just a married classmate. Suddenly, she clarified she wasn't asking for Hee-ju, correcting his assumption. She revealed another friend, not the one he thought sent her. He nodded, knowing that Hee-ju wasn't that kind of person. She chugged her beer, eyes sharp, as the conversation deepened. She sipped her drink, quietly noting his past feelings for Hee-ju. She asked if he spoke, but he suggested another round, dodging her. She teased his improved speech, laughing as he slipped back to stuttering. She laughed louder, pointing out his stuttering had returned. She playfully challenged him, asking if he wanted a fight. He reflected, certain she was fine back in the day. Back in the present, he carried her, shocked she'd gotten so drunk so quickly. He warned her not to move, fearing she'd fall off his shoulder. She flinched, startled, as tension crackled. He froze, realizing he touched something soft and warm. He wondered if he could catch feelings from that fleeting touch. His arms weakened, unsure where to take her as she slept on his shoulder. He searched for a place to rest, exhausted from carrying her. They stopped in front of a motel, so they got inside the motel. He admitted he had no other option but to act quickly. Then he marveled, stunned, at ending up in a motel with her. He fumbled in the dark motel room, searching for the light switch. He held the keycard, puzzled by the unfamiliar motel setup. She grabbed the keycard, her hand swift in the dim light. She teased about his first motel visit, questioning his sobriety. Inside, Yuna admired the motel's charm, praising his unexpected taste. He gaped, suspecting she faked being drunk to trick him. He fumed, realizing he carried her needlessly, believing she was drunk. Daham remembered her saying she wanted to work out with him. He reeled, questioning if her bold offer was serious. His face flushed with shock. He couldn't believe she'd said something so bold. Yuna marveled at the motel's LED-lit bathtub while Daham urged her to leave. She blinked, confused by his sudden shift in tone. He slept peacefully, claiming the room since he paid for it. She asked if he was sleepy as he groaned, feeling the night's drinks. He warned her sternly, threatening to act if she kept teasing him. She smirked seductively, suggesting he'd already started something. Then they started a workout session. After their workout, Daham woke up suddenly. He clutched his head, distressed, wondering if it was all a dream. He questioned which part of the night was real, his mind reeling. He looked into the trash can. He sat on the bed, realizing it wasn't a dream, his face heavy with worry. He peeked from the blanket, wondering if Yuna left while he slept. Suddenly, she slipped on her heel, casually asking if he was awake. He gripped his phone, stunned to confirm the night wasn't a dream. She teased about his efforts last night, her tone playful. She smiled, holding a bag of food, explaining her brief absence. He stared at her, shocked, thinking the night's events were a dream. She leaned in, flirting, asking if he hoped the night was real. She yawned, sleepy, asking if he felt the same after waking early. He gazed at her, surprised by her softer, unexpected side. Her hand gently touched his face. He apologized for touching her hair, noting her sensitivity to it. They embraced tightly, wrapped in a tender, colorful glow. She invited him to touch her more, the moment warm and close. After a while, they went outside. They paused at the red pedestrian signal, waiting to cross the busy street. She winced, clutching her hips, aching from the night before. He whispered in her ear, teasing her stamina, as he blushed in distress. Daham grinned, boasting he could go every day, while she called him crazy. She started to ask where they were headed, her thoughts trailing off. She touched his leg on the sidewalk, teasing his surprising talent. The traffic light turned green, signaling it was time to cross. They faced the crosswalk, ready to move as the sun set behind them. He admitted his worries faded, finding the moment surprisingly pleasant. They crossed the street, wondering what their relationship had become. He chose one path while she opted for the bus, parting ways. They said quick goodbyes, each heading to their own destination. He smiled softly. Later, Yuna glanced at his phone, seeing missed calls and texts lighting up the screen. Choi texted, suggesting a weekend meetup. She closed her eyes, lost in thought. Her fingers typed quickly, the screen glowing. Suddenly, Daham from behind proposed to watch a movie with her. They stood in the hallway, her heart racing as she faced him. His cheeks flushed, heart pounding, as he met her gaze nervously. He cringed in the hallway, embarrassed but drawn to her. He touched his cheek, blushing, lost in thought about her. He gazed out the window, musing that his love life had taken off. Meanwhile, in a real estate agency, she clarified that she and Daham were not siblings. The agent asked if they shared the same blood. She stated her mother was unmarried, her voice firm and clear. She detailed their family ties, confirming they were strangers, not kin. He frowned, overwhelmed by the complicated family history. The notary office door loomed as they discussed the legal heir. She recounted how their parents fell in love and died, her tone bittersweet. She explained the inheritance went to the biological son, Daham, not her. She revealed half the inheritance was hers, per her father's wishes. He smiled, tying her dream of being a manhwa artist to the inheritance. They discussed finding the will, but a problem lingered unresolved. She cried, frustrated, unable to locate the notarized will. She sighed, having searched 10 notary offices with no luck. He nodded, already aware of her fruitless search for the will. He warned if the heir spent it all, she'd get nothing, even with a lawsuit. She smirked, admitting she hadn't told the heir about the will. He cautioned that fraud by the heir would ruin her legal chances. He asked if she'd visited the heir's house, probing her actions. She explained a notary's advice to watch the heir to protect her share. He grumbled, annoyed that the will wasn't notarized, complicating everything. He admired her strength, impressed by her resolve. She decided to leave. He pressed, asking if she was certain about the will's contents. She snapped, insisting she wasn't lying about her father's will. She shouted, frustrated by doubts, claiming her father told her directly. He pointed out she wasn't the biological daughter, explaining the skepticism. He accused her of being the mistress's daughter, not blood-related. Later, she sat at the bus stop. She saw a man holding an umbrella over her little girl. Suddenly, she remembered her dad. In a memory, she called out to her dad, waving as he smiled through the window. He scolded her for forgetting her umbrella in the heavy rain. He ushered her inside, teasing about kids as she cherished his send-off. She pointed out his mismatched slippers, and he admitted his rushed mistake. She beamed, proudly declaring she was clearly his daughter. He smiled, noting how much she took after him, filled with pride. Tears dripped on her hands, echoing the rain outside. He remembered the agent insisted she wasn't his biological daughter, tied to the mistress. She sobbed, hurt by everyone denying she was his true daughter. A dark sedan idled at the crosswalk. Yuna stood by the luxury car as she said goodbye to Choi. He leaned into the car, smiling, thanking her for the tip about Daham. He promised to treat her to dinner soon, his voice warm with gratitude. She watched the sedan's brake lights fade as it drove off into the rainy night. Inside the Park Aim building, she was taking a bath. A while ago, at the agency, she faced him across the desk. He looked down, starting to explain the situation's weight. He admitted such cases were common. She walked away with her tote bag, leaving him to ponder at his desk. He questioned if she'd visit 350 notary offices, his tone sharp with doubt. He fretted she'd lose everything if the heir spent the money first. The agent planned to email proof to notary offices, hoping to find the will. She asked if the email plan would work. The agent admitted notarized wills were private, making the search tricky. He suggested a reward could boost replies from notary offices. She hesitated, nervously asking how much the reward should be. Back in the present, she checked her phone on the bed. A message popped up asking if anything happened after their bet. She replied briefly, saying nothing had happened yet. She admitted she had a chance to act. She groaned, texting about his reaction, still lounging on the bed. She sighed, texting that winning the bet wouldn't be easy. Her friend texted back, claiming she'd already won the bet. A message suggested monitoring the money after the heir's move. Her eyes widened, shocked by the message on her phone. Meanwhile, at a hotel, Choi asked if Heeju was still angry, his tone soft and concerned. She is upset because he asked Yuna for a favor without telling her. He pleaded for forgiveness. Her eyes gleamed, silently processing his apology. She questioned the hotel stay while he grinned about spicing up their marriage. He boasted about the hotel's beauty, found on an app, setting the mood. He smiled brightly, heading to shower first in the hotel room. She sat and thought, sunlight streaming through the hotel's large window. Her hands clasped, seeing a call on the phone. She greeted a caller, noting her husband was in the shower. She smiled, promising he'd call back after his shower. Her expressive eyes glanced down. She asked about free Wi-Fi, puzzled by the hotel's connection. Their phones glowed, one showing a couple's photo, the other searching for a signal. She frowned, confused that Wi-Fi isn't showing on her phone. Her phone listed hotel Wi-Fi networks, locked and ready to connect. She fiddled with her phone, urging it to connect to the hotel's Wi-Fi. She adjusted her necklace, anxious about what was happening. The city's apartment buildings glowed warmly against the starry night sky. Yuna stared at Choi's profile picture. She frowned at her phone, puzzled by his odd profile picture. She scrolled further, confused by his cloudy background image. She gasped at his real profile picture. She was happy to see it. Choi texted an apology, pleading for her not to be mad. Her eyes widened in disbelief, staring at his message on her phone. He asked if their relationship would stay the same. She stared at the photo of Choi kissing Heeju. Yuna remembered Choi, basketball in hand, boldly asking her out. She blushed, her purple eyes glancing aside, heart fluttering with his words. He promised to wait for her answer. She remembered Choi giving her a letter. Daham texted her, confirming movie tickets for their weekend meetup. She sat on the bed, lost in thought. Meanwhile, Choi was working out with a girl in the hotel room. He urged her to perform well. She promised to do well. Meanwhile, he was looking at the texts he sent to Yuna. He cursed, frustrated, having booked a motel she didn't want. He lay in bed, eyes half closed, lost in troubled thoughts. The black car idled on the wet street. Choi asked if she'd been busy, noting how hard she was to reach. She admitted to feeling tired. He questioned if she slept all day. She laughed awkwardly, brushing off his question with a vague reply. He admitted visiting her home yesterday, his tone soft and serious. He leaned out the car window, explaining he thought she wasn't home. He clarified she was asleep when he visited, not absent. He suggested a motel visit, revealing he'd already reserved a room. She declined, citing a meeting to prepare for tomorrow. He pushed for just an hour, but she firmly refused. His hand touched her, pleading for a short moment together. She slipped his hand away. She sharply reminded him of their relationship's boundaries. He froze, worried, as her words left him speechless in the car. She bid him farewell by car. He thanked her for the help, promising dinner soon. She watched the car's taillights fade, standing alone on the bright sidewalk. Back in the present, he grimaced, overwhelmed by a disgusting feeling of unease. Outside, he just stood barefoot in the hallway. Meanwhile, Daham's friend was playing a VR game while he scrolled through his phone on the bed. He lay back, blushing, engrossed in her smartphone, reading old messages with Yuna. Yuna texted, suggesting he watch the movie's prequel first. She messaged, noting she saw his profile picture that afternoon. She teased, threatening to screenshot his profile pictures. She sent a playful cat sticker. She asked what was up, her message glowing at 9:42 a.m. He replied, saying he'd arrived at a friend's house. She texted, resting due to back pain. She denied his assumptions, teasing him for lewd thoughts. She laughed off the chat. He grinned, blushing, lost in a happy moment with his phone. His friend asked why he was smiling, and he replied it was a meme. He asked how long he'd been staying, lifting his VR headset. He smiled nervously, caught off guard by the question. After meeting her, his thoughts swirled with new emotions. Instead of going home, he lingered, lost in his feelings. He chose to stay at a friend's house to sort out his thoughts. When he came to his friend's house, his friend questioned his odd look, curious about his mood. He stammered, brushing it off as just some shopping. He smiled, showing off his shopping bags for relaxation. His friend gaped at the VR headset and luxury bags. He needed time to think before heading back home. He wrestled with his feelings about Yuna and the other woman. His friend teased about his excuse for being flustered. He blushed, admitting he couldn't confess watching workout videos. Next day, Yuna texted asking if he was awake. He replied yes and asked if she was home. She said she was drinking coffee at work. He hesitated, blushing, as he asked if she was working today too. She excitedly confirmed she'd come for the movie. Meanwhile, his friend was satisfied with the VR. He offered Daham the VR headset, but he declined. Then he stared at Yuna's profile photo. At that moment, his feelings for her deepened. His heart raced, feelings intensifying over the past week. He wondered how long it had been since he felt this way. He got a haircut reservation alert, his phone buzzing with the reminder. Daham thanked him for the rest, feeling his thoughts clearer now. Daham questioned why his friend had an entire box of balloons. He grinned, offering him some, claiming a man must be ready. He smiled, agreeing his friend made a good point. He held onto the balloon packet his friend gave. Couples chatted at the concession stand, the atmosphere lively. He remembered his last time with Yuna. He clutched his head, embarrassed by his dirty-minded thoughts. He noticed the many couples, a contrast to his solo visits, while a familiar girl passed by him. Daham was surprised to see she looked like her flatmate. He stammered her name, stunned by her sudden appearance. Her boyfriend called her. He asked if she waited long, her cheerful reply easing the moment. He admitted she looked strikingly similar to his flatmate. Suddenly, Yuna teased if the girl was his type, catching him off guard. She questioned his staring as he explained the resemblance. She pressed, asking who he found so hot, her tone sharp. He admitted her allure outshone any definition of hotness. She let his comment slide, teasing where he learned to talk like that. She asked if he changed his style, noting his fresh look. He wondered if his new look was awkward. She called it fresh. Later, they were watching a movie together. Their hearts raced, the theater's tension sparking between them. He remembered their time at the motel. She whispered in the theater, her breath sending his heart racing. She laughed, clarifying the movie line wasn't about her. She leaned close, her scent captivating him in the dim theater. Her words and breath felt irresistible, drawing him in. He cursed himself for thinking such things at that moment. His heart pounded, sweat beating, as his thoughts overwhelmed him. His little bro teased about the balloons, catching him off guard. He called it a natural reaction, blushing under the sheet. He wondered if she shared the same fleeting thoughts. His little bro urged himself to confess his feelings before anything else. He decided to feed her popcorn. He blushed so hard that his face became dark red. She bit his finger. She whispered today's plans, her words stirring his heart. Her whispers electrified him. Her heart raced, surprised by the closeness in the theater. She leaned in, her breath on his ear making his heart pound. She asked if he could focus on the movie. People laughed together in the theater, amused by the film. Meanwhile, her hands scribbled in a notebook, listing part-time jobs and wages. A gaming center's dim glow sets the scene, perfect for multiplayer battles. She sighed heavily, clutching her pen, overwhelmed by exhaustion. She noted the money would last just 3 months, and her voice resigned. She planned to offer a reward, hoping to save some funds. A text asked if Daham was back. She texted, joking he was embarrassed for being caught with workout videos. She doubted his excuse, suspecting he was hiding something. She gasped, accusing him of past wrongs, fear flashing in her eyes. She urged caution in a text, pushing to find the notarized will. She demanded he report anything suspicious immediately. She stretched on the bed, phone and notebook nearby, lost in thought. Suddenly, a knock came on the door. She glanced back from the bed, wondering if he'd returned. Loud bangs startled her, her wide eyes fixed on the door. Meanwhile, people were watching a movie. After the movie, Yuna relaxed in the car's cool AC while he sweated, visibly uneasy. She reflected quietly, wondering if his excitement made her too blunt. He blurted out a nervous proposal to date, his face flushed with fear. She asked why he was embarrassed. She teased he could have been honest, calling him an idiot for overthinking. She questioned if he brought balloons expecting a workout, but he denied it and said his friend gave them to him. She worried their friend might overdo it, apologizing for his habits. He hesitated, about to speak, as she turned to him in the car. He cursed, annoyed at the real estate agent's untimely call. He frowned, puzzled by the real estate agent's sudden call. She smiled, encouraging him to take the call without worry. He asked for a moment, overwhelmed by the call's timing. He answered the call sharply. He agreed to make the call, his voice soft but certain. He nodded, confirming details over the phone in the car. He listened intently, acknowledging the real estate agent's words. She insisted she wasn't afraid, her confident gaze unwavering. He apologized to her for the call as she smiled, needing to get back to work. He offered to drop her off. He admitted he didn't want to leave her, the moment heavy with emotion. He confessed his feelings, both blushing in the car. Her heart raced, cheeks flushed, as she processed his confession. Suddenly, she remembered Choi and felt nervous. He confessed his true feelings, hoping she wouldn't misunderstand his intentions. He nervously asked for her thoughts, his voice trembling. She froze, tears streaking, as his words sank in. She whispered his name, her voice soft with hesitation. She asked for time to answer, urging them to return home for now. The car approached a parking barrier. He waved goodbye, thanking her for the ride under the sunset sky. He stood by a delivery truck, the warm sunset glowing behind him. He hoped her silence wasn't a rejection, clinging to her troubled look. Her distressed expression, so new to him, left him uneasy. The previous old man called out to her by the truck. He greeted the older man, surprised to see him by the barrier. He asked what was happening, the tension palpable in the air. The older man stammered, flustered by the sudden question. He was shocked to hear he was living with someone else now. Later, the white SUV idled on the bridge, city lights twinkling in the night. Yuna gripped the wheel tightly. She questioned her actions, lost in thought behind the wheel. She wondered if she fled after his confession, heart heavy. She thought she'd lost such pure feelings, surprised by her heart. Her heart raced unknowingly, stirred by Daham's unexpected confession. She drove, momentarily forgetting herself in the emotional rush. She questioned what kind of girl she was, lost in self-doubt. Suddenly Choi's call came through. Guilt crept in, her eyes glistening with unspoken regret. She slumped over the wheel. She admitted she truly liked Daham now, her heart aching with realization. Daham and the old man sat together. The old man revealed he visited room 301, shocked to find that girl there instead. Daham insisted her claims about the notarization must be true. He admitted hearing about it from his father long ago, now recalling its truth. He confessed he didn't tell him about her after his father's sudden death. He apologized for lying, his voice heavy with regret. He said sorry, their hands clasped in a moment of comfort. He realized even his father's friend knew about her all along. He noted the older man, close to his dad, naturally knew the truth. He questioned if he was the only one left in the dark. The older man asked if he resented his father, worried in his eyes. Their hands held tight. He spoke bitterly of his father, unsurprised by his abandonment. He reminded the older man, his father's friend, that he'd know his negligence. He wondered if his father ever thought of him when he left. He called his father irresponsible, the words sharp with pain. The older man, sweating, stood firm in his striped shirt. He sympathized, understanding the sting of betrayal and a split inheritance. Daham clarified he no longer saw her as stealing his inheritance. He accepted the law and gave her a share of his father's money. He realized they were alike, both tied to his father's legacy. He admitted taking the inheritance smugly despite not missing his father. He felt half the inheritance was fair as an abandoned child. The older man paused, sweat on his cheek, at a loss for words. He confirmed they were living together until the trial, per her decision. He asked how she was to him. He called her shameless, not his father's true daughter, with a strained smile. He understood the inheritance's size made her actions relatable. The older man asked if they'd fought, sensing tension. He brushed it off, saying nothing had happened yet. He hid details of a bet, keeping it from the older man. The old man revealed she thought his father was her real dad her whole life. She learned the truth at her mother's funeral, just like him. He was stunned to hear his mother wasn't his biological mother either. He learned her mother cheated, and her father wasn't her real dad. That day, she faced the shattering truth about her parents. Her mother's suicide and false father were revealed at the funeral. He stood distressed at the funeral, grappling with her family's secrets. She looked up in mourning attire, questioning about her mother's death. He heard her dad was a married man, not her biological father. At the funeral, whispers revealed her parents' lies and tragic deaths. He realized she was shocked to become a cheater's daughter overnight. Daham admitted he hadn't known her tragic story until now. He wondered if the older man wanted him to pity her, feeling conflicted. The old man noted she was like Daham, both suddenly orphaned. Like him, she lost her parents and became an orphan overnight. He said his father wanted him to care for her before he died. Daham questioned what his father truly wanted for him. The older man asked him to see her as family, a heavy request. Daham refused to accept her as family, his voice firm. The older man clarified it wasn't her fault, pleading for understanding. He admitted hoping for better, laughing off his disappointment. He reflected on his father's neglect, pain in his voice. He felt his father never cared for him, even in the end. Daham smiled bitterly, his faint hope crushed by his father's actions. He resented having to consider his father's other child. He envied how much his father cared for her, heart aching. Jealousy gnawed at him, thinking of her place in his father's heart. The older man apologized, clarifying his father's true intentions. He asked why the older man was more stressed than him. Then he apologized, needing to leave the heavy conversation. He walked away, called back by the older man's urgent voice. The older man tried again to explain his father's wishes correctly. He stood distressed, sweat on his brow. He gasped, still reeling from the conversation's weight. Back in the past, Daham's father admitted wanting to make a will suddenly. He reminded him neither were his biological children, his voice strained. Dad pleaded not to call them non-biological. He insisted they were his children despite no blood ties. He declared both were his children. He mourned the heavy burden his friend left him, neon signs glowing. Back in childhood, cherry blossoms drifted as Daham called out to his dad with excitement. The child proudly showed off a science award, grinning as his dad praised him. He whispered it was a secret, sharing his grand prize with him first. He beamed, holding up his science contest certificate. He ruffled his hair, proud of his achievement as he giggled happily. He smiled, suggesting they show the award to Mom to avoid jealousy. Hand in hand, they walked down a petal-strewn street, eager to play games. The child looked up worriedly, asking if he'd come back home. He questioned softly if it was because of Mom. He promised they'd live together again when he grew taller, gesturing above his head. He smiled brightly, blushing, ready for what came next. Tears welled as he stammered, calling out to his dad in distress. They stood in the sunset-lit street. Back in the present, Daham is alone, head in hands, overwhelmed by emotion. He sat alone on a playground slide. His somber face glowed faintly. He questioned his father's wish to treat her like family, heart heavy. He called his father irresponsible to the end. He walked away, puzzled by his father's actions. He sighed in relief, pressing the door panel, feeling lighter. He peeked inside, wondering if she was there, the room quiet. He flicked the light switch. He stared, confused, at her sleeping on the floor. He noted she looked like any 20-year-old while sleeping peacefully. His eyes widened, spotting her notebook listing part-time jobs. He wondered if she was working part-time jobs to get by. Then he questioned why he cared, noticing the TV still on as she slept. He frowned at the pile of delivery boxes, wondering if she'd overspent. He eyed a shipping label, worried about her spending. Then he carried boxes, stunned by how many she'd ordered. He moved the boxes quietly, hoping she wouldn't notice and comment. He told himself there was no need to fear her judgment for spending his money. She confronted him about the boxes, her gaze serious and direct. He nervously asked what she meant, clutching the stack of boxes. She pointed out the obvious delivery boxes, frustrated that he missed her point. She insisted he should have discussed the purchases before buying, given their shared property. Daham asked when they'd divide the property, catching her off guard. She stammered that the property division was still in progress. He offered to deduct his spending from his share, hoping to settle it. He ended the talk abruptly, too frustrated to continue. She noticed he seemed different. She remembered the old man agreed to meet and discuss things with Daham. She wondered what he discussed with the older man, curiosity stirring. Later, Daham flinched as a boxer landed an uppercut on TV. He complained she'd been bothering him since he got back. He questioned why the older man pitted her as a punch landed perfectly on screen. He regretted seeming weak when they met, thinking she saw him as easy to handle. Suddenly, the channel changed to a classroom show on TV. She snapped at him for changing the channel, while he teased that she was asleep. She insisted she was waiting for the commercial break, annoyance flaring. She challenged him, ready to fight over the remote. They wrestled fiercely over the remote, hands clashing in a burst of motion. He argued they should split TV time equally, his tone sharp with frustration. She gulped. She went for the remote again. He held the remote high, out of her reach. She called him immature for snatching the remote, her voice laced with concern. He questioned if he was immature, sweat beading on his cheek. He insisted he didn't want to lose the remote, not the other way around. Their hands locked in a fierce struggle over the remote. She teased he was cheating by using strength. He gasped, daring her to use real strength, tears in her eyes. Losing hope, she bit his nails to hurt him. He cried out in pain, the struggle over the remote overwhelming him. She stood triumphant with the remote, smirking as he crumpled, knowing his weak spot. She held the remote, recalling her dad's advice. He showed her younger self how to handle a bully, whispering a tactic. He guided the child's hand, teaching them to press a specific spot. He explained that pressing lightly hurts, but a forehead strike would stop the bully. He smiled gently, assuring the child the bully wouldn't bother them again. He grinned, suggesting they practice the defense move together. Back in the present, she asked if he was okay, jealousy flaring as she questioned his dad. Her tearful eyes searched for him, wondering who his real dad was. He confronted her about knowing he wasn't her real father, her face troubled. He shouted, accusing her of acting like a cheater's daughter. She looked down, overwhelmed. She glanced aside, uneasy, as he sat quietly on the couch. She walked away from the room. The door slammed shut, her anger echoing in the hallway. Later, he slumped on the couch, head in hands, lost in the dim room. After a while, he sat at his desk, the computer's glow lighting his focused face. The clock read 4 o'clock as he paused, lost in quiet thought. He wondered if she was ever coming back. He admitted it was better she stayed away, avoiding awkwardness. He regretted not yelling at her before she left like this. He questioned why he lashed out, guilt heavy in his heart. He sighed, deciding to forget it all and sleep, monitors glowing. He saw she'd finally returned and grumbled about her noisy anger, sensing her frustration. She burst in, shouting Appa as he froze, blanket clutched. She leaned against the wall, flushed and panting, startling him. Daham gaped. realizing she was drunk and reeking of alcohol. He asked what she was doing, concerned about mixing with frustration. She slurred playfully, blaming him, her cheeks flushed with drink. He urged her to talk tomorrow, her drunken swaying worrying him. She pressed his shirt. She asked if he hated her and admitted feeling like a fraud, claiming the inheritance. She hiccuped, frustrated at him, her flushed face tear-streaked. He insisted they talk when she's sober, her drunken fuss overwhelming. She denied being drunk, stumbling as he watched in shock. She clung to him, eyes closed, as he held her unsteady frame. He apologized, pushing her away as she demanded to be let go. She giggled, admitting she fell. He wondered if she drank from sadness but dismissed it as her business, trying to stay detached. She admitted she was too drunk to go home, tears on her cheek. He mumbled about needing sleep, telling her to leave him alone. But she pushed him into the bed. He scolded her for drinking too much, frustrated by her actions. She smiled faintly, noticing him there, her eyes sparkling. He asked what she meant, confusion clear in his voice. Suddenly she noticed his sausage and called out to it. He sweated heavily. He panicked, realizing he was only in underwear, her gaze unsettling. She blushed, wondering if he reacted because of her. She sighed, questioning if she misread him, her cheeks red. He hoped she'd forget this, banking on her drunken haze. He urged her to get up, trying to move her before she woke fully. He asked what she was doing, alarmed by her actions. She asked why he was crying, insisting he shouldn't be the one upset. He resisted his tears. She berated herself as a cheater's daughter. He told her not to sleep there, worried things could worsen. She admitted she shared his pain. She confessed she never wanted to be a cheater's daughter. She admitted jealousy, leaning on him. She asked if he'd accept her as family if she got the inheritance. She insisted he'd always see her as a cheater's daughter. She envied his place as the real son. Later, he worked at his desk, the monitor glowing as she slept nearby. He remembered the old man saying both of them were orphans. He clutched his head, distressed. So he started searching for something on the internet. A while later, she woke up, struggling to recognize the voice beside her. She gasped, shocked to see Daham bare-chested under the bright lights. She demanded he leave, threatening to call the police, her voice shaking. He reminded her of their bet, leaning close as she blushed in surprise. He asked if she remembered, and she said yes. Then she said it felt different. She bolted upright, confused, unable to recall why she was in bed. She pleaded for space, blushing, and Daham asked if she was enjoying him. She scoffed at his suggestion, denying any feelings. Suddenly, she woke up, realizing it was a dream. She sat on the bed, lost in thought, sunlight warming the room. She sighed, convincing herself the vivid moment was just a dream. The memory of the previous night flushed over her. She questioned why the memory felt so real, confusion gripping her. She gasped, wondering if those vivid memories were actually true. She cursed, overwhelmed with shame, wishing she could escape it all. She stepped through the bright doorway. Later, in the kitchen, she saw Daham cooking. Daham asked if she was awake. She snapped, annoyed at his sudden call, and Daham recalled her drunken night. She smirked, blaming him for her wild night. He nervously asked if she remembered last night's events in his room. He explained she passed out drunk in his room, forcing him to sleep on the couch. She blushed, admitting she was surprised waking up there. She apologized for the mix-up, thanking him, her voice soft. She froze, startled by his next words. He offered her some soup, his smile hesitant in the bright kitchen. She refused his soup, their strained bond keeping them distant. He glanced back. He tested her memory with a story, relieved by her cold response. He sighed, thankful she blacked out, unaware of the night's events. He noted she'd have mentioned the bet if she remembered anything. He recalled how different she was last night, lost in thought. He felt a pang of pity for her, seeing her vulnerability. He called himself an idiot, stressed over cooking too much. In her room, she stirred under the blanket, her heart thumping in the quiet room. She cursed, embarrassed, debating whether to pretend nothing happened. She feared he'd hold it against her, still haunted by the memory. She remembered him saying she drunkenly stumbled into his room last night. She wondered if he lied to spare her embarrassment, doubting his motives and fearing he'd use her dreamlike actions against her. She admitted panicking, pretending to forget to protect herself. She considered feigning amnesia forever to avoid his judgment. She decided pretending to forget would keep her safe from blame. She hid under the comforter, relieved there was no evidence. She braced herself to endure the awkwardness for just a few months, smiling, convincing herself she'd rationalized it all perfectly. She planned to finish job applications, still tucked in bed. She searched for her phone, frustrated. The door creaked open, her search for the phone growing urgent. She peeked into the dining room, disappointed her phone wasn't there. She recalled having her phone when she entered, retracing her steps. She sighed, finding her cracked phone on the floor, searching everywhere. He stared, shocked, clutching clothes with a distressed look. She groaned, holding her broken phone, the job application deadline looming and needing to take a photo with her phone. She knelt, thinking she was screwed. She worried if photo studios were open on Sunday, tears in her eyes. She considered using Subway instant cameras for her ID photo. She jumped, startled, as Daham appeared behind her unexpectedly. He offered to take her ID photo. She questioned his sudden kindness, hurt by past words about her heritage. He reassured her not to worry, his tone soft and sincere. He apologized for yesterday, and she froze, surprised by his apology. He apologized again, rubbing his neck, guilt weighing on him. She guessed he felt sorry for calling her a cheater's daughter. She brushed it off, saying it was true, no need for apologies. He admitted he only saw things from his side. He revealed they shared the same father despite their differences. She was surprised to hear that. He explained their father was the same person despite their views. He cried, acknowledging they were both his children. Daham suggested they live together until the trial ended, hesitant. She stood frozen. Later, Daham pressed the shutter to take pictures of her. He fiddled with the camera, puzzling over the menu but determined to get the settings right. He admitted his worry about the mirrorless camera but found its electronic viewfinder surprisingly good. She asked if she had to sit there. She sat pensively, touching her hair, lost in thought. He gripped the camera tightly. She waited patiently under the softbox light as he adjusted the camera's exposure, asking her to hold still. She posed with a slight blush, sweat on her forehead. She remembered his previous words. She closed her eyes. Sweat glistened on his cheek as he held the camera. He peered through the camera, playfully asking if she knew what is between extrovert and introvert. With wide eyes, he grinned and shouted midtrovert. She turned, stifling a laugh, as he sheepishly asked her to face the camera again. He adjusted his posture and she laughed behind her hand as he apologized. He leaned into the camera, embarrassed. Her lips curved into a warm smile, the moment captured in a soft, fleeting glow. He urged her to smile for the resume photo, explaining it would make a better impression. She protested, saying a phone photo would do, but he insisted on a professional shot for her interview. He grinned, assuring her the photo would definitely get her that interview. She blushed a little. He asked her to wait just a moment longer. Later, she stepped into his room, feeling awkward but familiar. She hesitated, her thoughts drifting to past awkward moments in that room as he worked at the computer. She teased him, surprised by his skill, wondering if he was a professional photographer. He shrugged, admitting he'd only worked as a photography staff, not a pro. She leaned in, curious to see his photos, while he warned her there wasn't much to look at. She stared at the photos. She wondered if his photos, all of the abandoned things, reflected his artistic vision. She gazed at the photos in her hand. She found a photo of a younger Daham walking with his dad. He stared at the computer screen. She looked at him with wide, thoughtful eyes. He invited her to check the finished photo. He showed her the edited photo, tweaking her skin and chin. She panicked, fearing she looked bad, while he stammered, unsure about editing. She pointed at the screen, asking for her eyes to be edited, and he nervously agreed. The final photo turned out like this. She sighed, feeling the edited photo didn't quite capture her true self. He reassured her, insisting she looked beautiful in the photo. They stared at the screen. Both froze, startled by the bright screen, their faces flushed with shock. He ran excitedly, thinking of lunch and leftover bean sprout soup. He offered to let her send her resume from his computer, his voice calm. She exhaled in relief, deciding to send applications before anything else. Her fingers hovered over the search box, ready to type her query. The cursor blinked in the search bar. Meanwhile, Daham ate heartily, praising himself for acting like a responsible adult. He reflected on the money and her situation, finding comfort in simple things. He smiled, charmed by her request to edit her eyes just a little. Suddenly, she came and asked if there was food left. He looked concerned as she stood with crossed arms, bathed in warm light. She admitted her hunger, surprised by the large batch of food he'd made. Her cheeks flushed. He frowned slightly. She looked up, saying he wanted to live together. He froze, shocked by her words. He offered her soup, flustered as she marveled at his homemade dish. He asked if she'd submitted her applications, suggesting she eat first. The screen displayed his search history. He searched for a bean sprout soup recipe, good food for a hangover, how to apologize smoothly, and how to soothe an angry girl. She thanked him warmly for the meal, the table laden with dishes. She grinned, savoring the delicious food, playfully offering to cook next time.